So we know that Israel needs a bunker buster bomb to destroy Fordo's nuclear facility, which you mentioned. We know America has that. If the US uses it, what impact will it have? And I suppose, what are the consequences?
Well, already you have Iranian officials as well as Iranian government-linked social media channels threatening to widen the war. Before American entry, these threats of widening the war are designed to deter American involvement and raise the costs of that involvement. Should America actually go in, then it means that the Islamic Republic is likely going to have to make good on some of those threats. There's veiled threats against closing the Strait of Hormuz or impacting maritime travel, shipping, and commerce, particularly when it comes to energy in the Strait of Hormuz and Persian Gulf. Another likely option available to the regime, if it wishes to draw blood, is using its more close range and short range ballistic missiles, which are considerably more accurate than those it has launched at Israel, at the constellation of U.S. bases on the southern tier of the Persian Gulf or in places like Iraq, as it did in January 2020, for example.
So, as we know from reporting from the New York Times, that Iran is preparing to strike US bases in the Middle East if America launches an attack on the country. What are the risks if this spirals into a wider regional conflict?
Well, in so many ways, we've been living in a world brought to you by a wider regional conflict, given the seven front war that we've seen since October 7 ebb and flow in the post October 7 Middle East. So, in so many ways, we're already there. It's just a measure of scale and scope and how you measure this stuff. Beyond that, there's no doubt the regime will want to try to internationalize the conflict. But just as it has failed to escalate against Israel, which is a conventionally superior adversary, the Islamic Republic will find it considerably harder to escalate against America as well. Admittedly, there is, again, that constellation of bases and diplomatic facilities which are within closer range of Iran. But the Iranians must remember that if they do draw American blood, that is a clear red line for President Trump. And you even saw President Trump act on that red line decisively in 2019 and 2020 during the Iraq crisis.
Ayatollah Khamenei has reportedly handed over a significant share of his authority to the Revolutionary Guard Supreme Council. What more can you tell us about this?
Well, the government of the Islamic Republic is at once a parallel structure and it's at once a very hierarchical structure. No doubt, after the decapitation or deracination of lots of Iran's military elite, they're going to want to try to find a way to rebalance and try to keep responding against Israel. But no doubt the supreme leader is a title meant to be taken rather literally. But he is an individual that is 86 years old, that is highly ideological in his enmity and hatred of Israel and America. So that certainly clouds much of his judgment. The Revolutionary Guard is very much cut from the same cloth, so certainly no better there. But I just think it's just a sign of the times that there's different elements of the regime trying to do different things.
I want to talk to you about the post that you mentioned earlier. Donald Trump says that we know where the Supreme Leader is hiding. He wrote on X, "We know exactly where the so-called Supreme Leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers, and our patience is wearing thin." Now, Ayatollah Khamenei says that the battle begins. In a post, he followed up that we will show no mercy to the Zionists, or we will show the Zionists no mercy, rather. So what sort of impact do these messages have?
Well, they're designed to respond to one another, but more broadly, again, this is Khamenei kind of projecting. At this point in time, Khamenei remains the longest running autocrat in contemporary Middle Eastern history. Again, he's an 86-year-old individual who's holding hostage a nation of 88 million people, many of whom actually despise his views and have a fundamentally different conception of what is and is not in the Iranian national interest. But between Trump and Khamenei, there's a whole world of difference. And both of these leaders are looking to use public messaging to try to bolster their deterrence. But beyond that, they're very different messages.
Okay, and Iran has banned government officials from using mobile phones and other devices amid concerns growing inside Tehran that Israel is using the phones to track and target the country's leader. Do you have any more insight on that?
Well, you've also seen, in addition to the statements about limiting the phone use and limiting the digital footprint of not just what's left, again, of the political and military elite, but also of their physical security, to try to move them into a more kind of beta, proto, non-electronic state to make it harder for them to be traced digitally and on cyberspace. You're seeing that being merged with rolling internet blackouts in some cities and some towns, which I think could be a dress rehearsal for what we saw back in November 2019 as well, which is to limit and control the information environment available to the Iranians. Because even in the middle of a shooting war, the government of the Islamic Republic fears its own people more than it even fears foreign bombs.
Behnam Ben Taleblu, Senior Director of FDD's Iran program, thank you so much for speaking to us on Power Hour.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.